A couple of you have asked about possibly doing some work with something called the chakras, in the subtle physiology of both the Hindu yogic tradition and in Buddhism. We have this notion of energy centers in the body. And how many of you have actually heard of these or worked with them before? Just give me a quick wave. Okay, um, just to do a bit of a review for some of you, or an intro for those of you who haven't worked with these. In the ancient system of the psychophysiology of the body, there are thought to be these energy centers that appear as swirling disks of energy. They're almost like funnels. And the small end of the funnel, if you think of it this way, is connected right into the center channel in the body, roughly corresponding to the spines, but in front of the spine, more in the center. And then, like a cone, it uh, progresses to sort of stick out of the body beyond the layer of skin a few inches into a large opening there. So it is almost like a funnel or cone shape. And there are several of these, what are thought to be energy centers in the body. And chakra is a word for wheel. It's a wheel of energy, really. And so chakra literally means wheel. And because there is this subtle quality of energy spinning in a clockwise direction from the inside out, um, we also pull things in. If it's spinning the opposite way, we can almost pull things in. And those of you who are um, very empathetic, if you're therapists or if you just sense other people's pain, you may feel, if you begin to meditate on these energy centers, you may feel certain chakras actually spinning the other direction and pulling in um, other people's feelings so they don't have to feel it. And we have a term for this, second chakra healers, which are people who try to take other people's pain away by pulling it in so the other person doesn't have to feel it. This is not uncommon. I myself have experienced this in very profound ways. Um, there is a book written by Dr. Singh Khalsa, who is a Sikh physician at Brigham and Women's Hospital. He's an MD physician who's written a very highly technical book called Meditation as Medicine. It's been out for a while, and it's actually a brilliant work where he actually corresponds this system of the subtle physiology with the various endocrine systems in the body, nervous systems, and he's done very painstaking work to kind of map the Eastern system and the Western medical system or the Western biology in very compelling ways, to the point where organs are affected by certain chakras, as well as mantra. So certain syllables, each chakra has a syllable. And his hypothesis for quite a while now has been that if you sound the syllable as you meditate on that chakra and sound the syllable, that resonance has an impact on certain organs in the body. It sounds kind of out there, I know it does, but um, I myself personally have found a great sense um, of change by meditating on the chakras. In fact, it's something that I always do regularly, especially on retreat. It has a very sort of clearing, opening quality to it. So we find this often in the tantras, the yoga tantras, as well as the Buddhist tantras, very deep kind of esoteric practices. And it's interesting that how these chakra systems, this chakra system actually evolved in Buddhism as an offshoot of the earlier yogic practices. And in Buddhism, you actually envision each chakra as a lotus blossom in the body. So there's a lot of imagery, a lot of visualization and imagination that goes into cultivating change. And so we'll practice a bit with that as well, with that image. And the reasons or some of the benefits to practicing with the chakras are, first of all, one of concentration. And so in Tibetan Buddhism, you have this notion of shamatha. Shamatha is a Sanskrit word for calm abiding that arises out of concentrative attention. And as you allow your concentration to rest on a particular place or a chakra, that the more you're able to sustain that attention in an open, easeful way, the mind settles and this sense of deep, peaceful abiding arises naturally. So you're not actually having to make it happen. So concentrative attention is one way that in Buddhism the chakras are used to meditate, to focus attention, as well as to then get insight into a particular psycho-physiological attribute, such as obviously the heart chakra in the center of the chest. You may get some insights into what's there. If you're feeling a sense of heaviness or sadness, naturally you'll notice that. And if you're open to it and you're able to meditate and open the heart chakra to the quality, you get to know a little bit more what's there, supported by your breathing, supported with this meditative practice that is really meant and designed to clear anything out of that chakra that is problematic. So the third function of chakra meditation can be clearing, getting to know what's there and being able to relinquish at the same time. So insight leading to clearing, or what is often called purification. That's another word for it, but I prefer clearing. I feel like purifying is, it can be a laden term, and really the essence of this term purification is really about clearing. It's about clearing ourselves up, basically, right? Taking an eraser and kind of getting rid of all those pencil marks. That's a way to think of it. And then the last one is actualizing that what we're doing, say, when we meditate on, for example, the heart chakra, that we're not just clearing, but then we're bringing up and actualizing the quality of unconditional love. So the attribute of the heart chakra is really that. It is that sense of pure open love that opens to us, and we experience it through the entire body and then radiate it on out. So we don't have to memorize all of this. In fact, for me, the process of working with the energy centers and the subtle physiology is one of open allowing and then seeing what happens, seeing how you feel different. And as the Buddha said, don't take my word for it. Put it to the test and see if it's true for you. See if it's something that actually does help. So I've gotten enormous benefit regularly by doing an inner house cleaning using chakra meditation, as well as a deeper connection to my spirituality, as well as to that which is beyond this local shell that I call Chris, that which is sort of open to the greater existence of life and the divine in that sense. So what I'm going to do is read you a passage from one of my all-time favorite books by B.K.S. Iyengar, Light on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. There are many translations of the Yoga Sutras. One of my go-tos is by Swami Veda Bharati, who is a PhD in philology. He actually passed away a few years ago, but his translations of the Yoga Sutras are utterly unparalleled, and they're very highly technical and have extensive commentaries. And unfortunately, before he died, he only got through the first two padas, or parts of the four, but they're really good ones. So, but this is my go-to here as well. B.K.S. Iyengar, the great Iyengar Yoga, the founder of Iyengar Yoga, many years back. So he talks about the importance in the Yoga Sutras. We even see the importance of meditating on these energy centers in what is called samyama. Samyama, S-A-M-Y-A-M-A. Samyama is a word that means integration in Sanskrit. And basically what this word refers to in the Yoga Sutras is the integration of dharana, which is concentration. This is the last three stages of the 8 limbs of yoga. Dharana, which is concentration, dhyana, which is meditation, and samadhi, which in yoga is more about unity or absorption. Um, and so the three together are samyama. And what we're instructed to do in the Yoga Sutras is practice samyama with the seven primary chakras in the body. So, so I'm going to read you this passage here. This is in the third pada of the Yoga Sutras. Patanjali, the great sort of codifier of yoga systems, he didn't actually make all of this up, but he systematized the yogic teachings back in, like, I believe the 7th century BCE, so back quite a while ago. And this particular sutra, Bhuvanajyanam Surye Samyamat, that's the Sanskrit. And in those short words, Bhuvanajyanam Surye Samyamat, by samyama on the sun, the yogi will have knowledge of the seven worlds and of the seven cosmic centers in the body. So here, one thing that's helpful is that these chakra systems are seen to be microcosms of the macrocosmic universe, basically, of the cosmos, and that there are seven worlds. We're not going to go into those tonight, but that's what the meaning of this line is. So, Iyengar in his commentary tells us this. I'm trying to remember where I was going to start reading from here. Well, we'll go from this part here. As the microcosm represents the macrocosm, one's body epitomizes the entire structure of the great universe. The 14 worlds are represented in the various regions of the body, from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. Taking the bottom portion of the torso as the central point, the aerial regions are situated above, and the nether regions below it. The several aerial regions correspond as follows. The pelvic region, well, we won't read the correspondences because I'll just name the locations. Pelvic region, the navel, the diaphragm, the heart, the neck, the eyebrow center, and the crown of the head. So those are the seven locations. According to yogis, within these regions are the seven major chakras. They are Muladhara, that's the root chakra. Here he says it's at the seat of the anus, which actually the root chakra is the very bottom. If you think about it, at the base of the spine and then protruding forward through sort of the area of the genitalia and then out forward in front of the body is the root chakra. And this chakra is the place of groundedness as well as our fears. So the root chakra is that place where when we feel unsafe or we feel insecure in our well-being, in our physical safety, this is where we feel it, and often you'll feel that kind of closing off in that area. So it also is where our fear of death abides, as well as material fear of scarcity or material poverty, things like that. It's interesting. So all of these are associated with the Muladhara or the root chakra. Then the Svadhisthana, the sacral area, which is just below the navel and protruding out. There's about a couple of inches below the navel. And this area is one of creativity. So the psycho-physiological attributes are creativity as well as sexual passion, and also certain emotions that are sort of primary to how we're being treated, to love, those kinds of things. And then Manipuraka, the navel, which is above, it's actually the solar plexus, right sort of below where the breastbone comes together. And this, what we call third chakra, is the power center for all the rest. This is seen to be the largest of all the chakras, and a lot of energy here. And in this place, the third chakra is all about um, power and powerlessness, or feeling helpless. If someone's ever said something to you that has belittled you or invalidated you, and you feel butterflies right there, that's the spot. That's the spot. That's where the ego resides as well. This sort of separateness, this separate I, um, resides in this third chakra. And so often here, you, if you consider ego being linked to power, this is like the central place where this happens. And so the idea here is to basically turn the lens of the ego into your highest or deepest intentions, rather than to eradicate it, as is often talked about, is to turn it into an ally, so that the third chakra becomes a place of personal empowerment, and that your deepest intentions um, are actualized by putting them into practice through from this chakra. It's very interesting, I think. And um, okay, the anahata, the heart chakra, right in the center of the chest. Love, compassion, um, fearlessness, and also wounding and pain, emotional pain. Then we ascend to the fifth chakra, which is sort of right here at the base of the throat. This is called the throat chakra, otherwise known as that. And in that little depression right here, just below the Adam's apple, this is where the chakra abides. And this is a place of um, expression of truth, confidence in communicating for yourself, as well as speaking truth, and for silence, for well being in silence. Then we move up to the center of the forehead, uh, to what he calls the eyebrow center. I don't know. I think it's a little above my eyebrows. My eyebrows are thick and heavy, so they kind of drag down. So it's a little bit higher. And this is the Ajna chakra. Ajna means fire. And in the great myths of the ancient Hindu myths of Shiva, the great god who destroys so new life can take root, this is the place in his body that shoots fire out and scorches the landscape right from here. All very symbolic of our potential for clear, sharp luminosity of consciousness in this chakra. So this is the chakra of intuition. This is the power center, or rather the energy center um, of spiritual connection as well. It's also called the seat of consciousness, because if you meditate on the sixth chakra and your eyes are gently closed and you just sort of open to this part of you here in the forehead, you can almost feel this very subtle but bright and present awareness just sort of emanating from here. So this is why, as we call it, the seat of the chakra, rather the seat of consciousness. And then finally, the seventh chakra is the crown of the head. And here, this chakra is pointed actually upwards, like a crown. And the only thing that they say that corresponds to this chakra is the syllable Om. There's no real other explanation, as if that says it all, and I think maybe it does. So Om. And ultimately, it's the opening to cosmic energy. It's the opening to all that which is beyond ourselves. And when we're receptive um, to the energy of the heavens, to um, that which is beyond us, this is where we can actually feel that sense of openness and receptivity, also to the divine, whatever that may mean for you. So this is also called the thousand petal lotus, um, Sahasrara. That's right, the Sahasrara. So it's interesting that here in the commentary he says there are other chakras such as Surya, which means sun, which corresponds to the sympathetic nervous system. This is interesting that he adds that in here, as well as Chandra. Chandra is the Sanskrit word for moon. The parasympathetic nervous system here, he says, is implicated. So, you see a little bit of this like working to bring these systems together. So anyway, he continues here in his commentary. All of these are interconnected. They're all on that central axis called the Shushumna. In Buddhism, it's called the Avaduti. But nevertheless, it's that central channel that moves from the crown of the head all the way down to the base of the spine in a straight line. These are all interconnected like the solar system. The light that shines from the seat of the soul is the sun of life. It passes through Surya Nadi at the gates of Surya Chakra. And Surya Nadi is also that main central channel, and illumines the states of awareness in the yogi's consciousness. So a lot of Sanskrit tonight, but you don't need to remember it. And each of these chakras is also affiliated with an element. And so as we move through the seven, I'll guide you through. In Buddhism, you often will see the elements present in the meditations that people use for these chakras, such as the very first chakra, the root chakra, is very deeply connected to the earth element. Second is water. Third is fire. Fourth, which is the heart, is air, the air element or space. The fifth is ether. So I'm not sure exactly on the chemical chart, kind of if that's the kind of ether they're talking about, or if it really means something more fine, more subtle there. And in any case, the sixth element here is consciousness, and the seventh, I'll give you a guess here. We've already talked about it. The seventh element is Om again. So, all right.